Block 19 Bonegilla is the last remaining block of more than 24 blocks that made up the Bonegilla Migrant Reception and Training Centre, which received and trained migrants to Australia following World War II. The centre was big and at its busiest housed up to 8,000 people, occasionally in tents but usually in large accommodation huts. Women and children were housed separately from men until huts were partitioned into cubicles for families. When the centre first opened, each week saw hundreds of people arriving from the Melbourne docks. The trains, known as Red Rattlers, offloaded passengers at the Bonegilla siding. Luggage was collected and then people were ready for the short trip across to the Migrant Reception Centre, where staff prided themselves on serving a hot meal within an hour of arrival. Later migrants, particularly the Dutch, arrived by plane through Australia's only international airport in Sydney. Initially, only displaced persons from refugee camps in Europe were selected. As demand for labour increased and Australian immigration officials realised they could not meet the government's migration quota, The opportunity to migrate was opened up to assisted migrants. Every person over 16 years, whether assisted migrant or displaced person, signed a contract stating their willingness to work for 2 years in any job in any part of Australia. Qualifications, work experience and education were not considered. If your job allocation ran out, you were expected to return to Bonegilla to wait for your next opportunity.
Took on the job of managing these reception centres. We were to provide temporary accommodation until the newcomers were found jobs.
What did you do all day?
I had to check that all the huts were kept clean and tidy and functional. I had to see that the food was good and that the place ran well.
Woodside, down in the kiosk. My father came with us to Woodside for approximately 1 month, and then we left and went down to Edinburgh, and we waited till we found the house we rented in last week, just outside. It was an amazing experience. We couldn't speak English. The weather in Bonegilla was in the end of September, still extremely cold, We had 6 blankets to our beds each. It was just bitterly cold. The food was indescribable, to put it gently, and I guess we felt rather alone, except we had made friendships on the ship with lovely people with whom I'm very close to. And it was a very hard beginning, but we assimilated as quickly as possible, because assimilation was the go word in the 50s. My parents were both tailors and seamstress, and they went straight to working at it. They were very lucky. They went straight into the rag trade, and my brother and I started school. I will say that we made some lifelong friendships while we were there with our co-migrant friends, particularly ones from Trieste. I'm still very close with this particular family. And it was the basis for, I guess, a new start, a new family life.
Today, the centre touches the lives of millions of Australians. 1 in 20 Australians have relatives who've spent time at Bonegilla before work allocations dispersed them Australia-wide.